Hello, I'm Gary from Phoenix Perennials. It's early May and it's the height of edible season right now. Our edible section is stocked with all kinds of great things to grow in your own backyards and to celebrate the 0 Mile diet. So I'm going to turn this camera around and we're going to go on a little tour of the fun, cool, conventional and not so conventional edibles that we have here right now. All right, well, one of the great first places to start and one of the favorites for edible season are, of course, tomatoes. So these are all tomatoes, in this case, grown on their own roots. So these are all kinds of little tomato starts. And we have a million different kinds of cherries, because cherry tomatoes are probably one of the best groups for our climate here on the West Coast. And then we have all kinds of larger ones if you've got hotter spots and really good full sun positions where you can bring the larger tomatoes into ripening. In all, there are probably about 50 different kinds of heirloom and cool modern tomatoes here right now. So there's lots of selection. Now I'm going to spin around a little bit and we're going to visit the Mighty Mato area. So Mighty Matos are grafted tomatoes. They are grafted onto super strong tomato rootstock, which gives the varieties grafted onto them greater disease resistance, greater cold tolerance, and greater vigor. So these tomatoes are going to produce about 2 to 3 times more tomatoes than the same tomato on its own roots. And in some cases, especially with the with heirloom tomatoes, which are famous for having great flavor but not necessarily great production, you can get huge production off of these guys. For instance, our friends Emily and Ken, who live right here in Richmond, get about 100 pounds a year off of their grafted Brandywine tomatoes. The most exciting edible for this year is probably this plant right here. This is called Ketchup and Fries, and if you look at the picture, you're gonna see the clue. This is an amazing, delicious, I've tried it, cherry tomato on top that will produce hundreds of cherry tomatoes on nice big plants, and then later in the season you can harvest 4 to 5 pounds of potatoes from the base, from underground. So these are hand-grafted plants with a tomato on top and then a potato rootstock. It's pretty crazy, it's pretty fun, and people are pretty excited about it. Just around over here we have another of the new innovations this year, and these are called the pixie grapes. These were actually bred, here we go, these are actually bred in Niagara, and there's going to be a whole series of them. These are dwarf grapes that only grow, well, there's different reports, but some say to about 2 feet, maybe 3 feet, and I have heard a report to about 5 feet, so we'll have to wait and see, but certainly only a few feet tall rather than having a grapevine that can take over the world. The other cool thing is on tiny little plants like these, you can get grapes already. And give it just a year or two and you'll be getting tons of grapes off of these great little patio grapes that can grow in the ground or in containers. Now going back to the whole world of mighties, it's not just tomatoes which have been grafted onto extra strong rootstock. We also have peppers, so we have jalapeno peppers and Anaheim peppers and different kinds of bell peppers, so orange, red, and gold bell peppers. And these will also have greater vigor and greater cold tolerance and greater production. There are also melons. So we have Swan Lake grafted melon. We have a grafted ambrosia melon. We have cucumbers, both in the cool cumber, it's called, and gigabyte. Oh, and we have eggplants as well. So grafted eggplants. You can see these are really big, vigorous plants already. We also go in for lots of greens. And so there's all kinds of kales and lettuces and watercress and wheatgrass, all kinds of fun things. Lots of herbs. You can grow your own potatoes. We have lots of mints and garlics, asparagus, oregano, all your good standard stuff. Here are all your different kinds of sages, your edible flowers like violas and nasturtiums, and we've got wasabi as well, so you can grow your very own wasabi. We've got about 3 or 4 different kinds of bay leaves, which is fun, and they're quite ornamental. And then here's a new thing. This is a new strawberry called the Aloha berry, which produces white berries with red seeds, and it tastes like a cross between a strawberry and a pineapple. Pretty cool, pretty fun. Around the other side, we have lots and lots of different kinds of citrus. So you can see we've got lots of Meyer lemons. We love our citrus. There are some that are hardy for us outside year-round, and others that do need to come in for the winter. But there are Meyer lemons, there are Persian lemons, key limes, I should say Persian limes actually, and then key limes and yuzus and sudachis and all kinds of things. Here we have some avocados. They're not quite hardy for us, but these are hardier varieties than the average. We also have the BrazelBerries, so these are the BrazelBerry raspberries, and below them the BrazelBerry, some of the BrazelBerry blueberries. We have all 4 varieties, plus normal blueberries if you want the big 4 to 6 footers. There they are. And then here's the rest of our edible area. Well, there's all kinds, so all kinds of stuff, all kinds of currants, all kinds of haskap's and raspberries and blackberries. Over there we have a big selection of figs, which you can grow quite successfully in Vancouver. We have all kinds of different kinds of kiwis. And these are pretty exciting here. These are columnar apples. So these apples will grow to about 8 or 10 or 12 feet tall, but only be about 2 feet wide. So they grow like a pillar. So pretty amazing for small spaces, pretty amazing for decks, pretty amazing if you wanted to create a neat wall of apples in your garden. We have one called Scarlet Sentinel, and we also have one called Golden Sentinel. Best to get one of each so that you get good pollination, unless you have another apple in your yard already or in your neighbor's yard. And then this area is pretty fun. It's an area of all kinds of weird and strange edibles. So we have persimmons. There they are. You can grow your own persimmons here. You can grow your own maypop passion flowers, which have edible fruit. We have olives. We have aronias, which produce interesting edible berries. We have something called autumn olive, also producing edible berries. Here you can grow your own tea. These are tea plants, Camellia sinensis. And we have Arctic raspberries, 3 different kinds. A relative of raspberries and blackberries that produce cute little berries that you can eat. We have Sechuan peppers and Japanese peppers, which will grow into large shrubs or trees and produce these little peppers that you can grind up and use in your Asian cooking. We have the sweet bamboo, which you can use for cooking. We have ugni moline from Chile, and we have all kinds of other things like goji berries, and we have winter greens, we have high bush cranberries, and we even have mulberries. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour and that you'll come in and have a look for yourselves. Thank you. I'm Gary from Phoenix Perennials, and we'll see you soon.